Cast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hi, welcome to Raw. My name's Dave and I'm an archivist here at the BBC. And over the last year or so, I've unearthed a collection of interviews with some of the biggest names in music from the last 4 decades. Some of which have never been heard in full, until now. On this episode...
It's that old cliche of, the rock star seeing the darkness, coming back, seeing the light.
From 1998, this is Courtney Love in a hotel room with Jo Whiley. Her band Hole are about to release their 3rd album, Celebrity Skin, the album that made them and consequently broke them just a year later. But for Courtney Love, this collection of songs finally allowed her to outrun the shadow of being known as the widow of Nirvana's Kurt Cobain, who tragically took his own life just 4 years earlier. Now, I must warn you, there is some very strong language used in this interview. Enjoy.
So how long are you here for?
All week, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Right. I think it's just you, Caitlin Moran, and The Big Issue, and that's it.
Yeah.
Half hour.
Yeah,
and we'll see how
nice.
it goes.
Yeah. I actually booked you onto The Word. I used to book the bands on The Word, and Hole came on The Word a long time ago. I don't know if you remember that.
Very well, I remember that night.
What was it? What happened? Where?
No, I know. So it's only
Sean Ryder or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And,
okay, I remember.
Did he do the rainbow theme or something? He was
No, he was like
out.
he was out of his mind.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
No, it was a good show. It was a really good show to work on. It was a bit mad, to say the least.
So how long did you do that for?
I did it for 2 years, so it was a good time. Okay. It's Radio 1, the Lunchtime Social, and this feels so bizarre talking to this microphone, pretending I'm on the radio. But anyway, I'm in a hotel room with Hole at the moment to talk about the new album, which is Celebrity Skin. We're going to play you the single at the end of this interview. But first of all, if I can say hello to everybody first of all. You have to shout because I've only got one microphone, so...
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for giving us some time to do the interview. If you could describe this album in terms of, just to start off with, give us some kind of an idea. If it was an animal, what animal would it be?
Oh, you're being quite abstract today, darling.
Sorry, I thought I'd start off like this and then go into the boring questions afterwards.
Animal.
Yeah, like a zoo or something, a menagerie.
We did do, since this is a very Californian-themed record, in true California tradition, there was 12 songs, and me and Melissa sat down and gave each song a sign.
A sign
of the zodiac.
Celebrity Skin is the Aries.
Aries.
It's the first.
It's
the big horned fire demanding your attention.
Demanding your attention, little baby,
right,
child. Then we put, of course, the signs in order, but that didn't quite work.
But
so each,
that's a shame. But
everything had criteria to qualify, like what month it was written.
Yeah.
Because there's many, many months to choose from because it took so long to write the album, and things like that, and the spirit and intent of each song. And
which one's the Cancer one?
Oh, Reasons to Be Beautiful.
Right.
Because
okay.
Are you Cancer?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, well, me too.
I was just trying to think how to relate to it.
That's the one I gave. That's my one, and then hers is the Pisces, and hers is Use Once and Destroy. Right. Of course, we gave ourselves the watery, dense, pathetic, insane,
emotionally moody
yeah.
ones. Yeah. Okay. Right. So if I was to say what's its personality like, it'd be very difficult to describe it because it's so many different
the
facets
the
to
album?
it. I suppose. Yeah, the album.
It's kind of got a bit of a weird, almost thematic Diamond Dogs thing going on. It also has a really Hotel California on Fire thing about it as well. So as far as it having a personality,
it's fairly schizoid sort of.
Yeah, it's a cabaret really in some ways, but with lots of things that are very deep and true.
Yeah.
On it, so it mixes up.
Yeah.
The sort of abstract, pretentious with the really naked and raw.
Yeah. What kind of reception has it had? Have you had reviews in America so far?
It's not out yet, so no.
Well, yeah, we did. We got a 9 out of 10 in Spin, and I was really mad about it. And I was figuring all the reasons we got one, point removed because I found out Odelay got a 10. The only thing that ever got a 10 was Beck's Odelay. So I was
so what could the deduction? Conclusion?
Everything from lifestyle to yoga to weight loss to whether not being Jewish, to everything, to cred points removed because our management discovered Rush, but then I had to get mitigating factors because our management discovered Pere Ubu. Is this, too much for your listeners? I don't know.
No, it's
Are
fine.
we allowed? Are we supposed to be talking about Boyzone? I don't know.
No, that's fine. Please
Get a
don't.
little sophisticated.
I've done
for my
enough
own.
about Boyzone.
Yeah.
So did you work it out? Did you speak to the journalist in question?
Yes, I
and find
did.
out?
He said I called him. I did call him. Thank you for asking. And on vacation, in fact, and I found him
Very early in the
And I
morning.
said, yesterday. And I said, "Why did we get a 9 when you know it's a 10?" And he said, "I was protecting you." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "If I gave you a 10, everyone would think we were sleeping together." So I was like, "Yeah, that's really great. Thanks a lot." So that was it. And I think we've had really great. It's a great record.
The response is
It's
really-
amazing. It's amazing, and we're really grateful because in America, at least, if you're born a serf, you can die a king. So we like that about our country, and hard work is what gets you there.
Yeah.
This is what is so sort of good about being American and not living so obviously within a classist system. And details, discipline, and meticulous craftsmanship and womanship
recognized.
went into this record. It gets recognized universally. But I think that we're allowed breathing space more. I think in Britain, bands tend to be pushed back into the studio very quickly. And
So are you wary of what the reception will be like here, or
No,
can you
not
imagine?
at all. It's a magnificent record, and
But do you not think that an awful lot of journalists, I mean, people that I've read that have reviewed Hole in the past or talked about Courtney Love, have this kind of fixed image of what you are and what you're about, and so when they hear this album, they'll be like, "Oh, I want it to be darker. I want it to be, more menacing." Or
that's too bad. I mean, that changes. It's the work. It's the job of anybody who's an artist or an architect or a filmmaker or whatever. If they're going to be worth their salt, to make huge leaps and jumps and make their monuments or their art true to what they are and their heart, and that's what's compelling and makes rock less redundant. Who wants? Once you've gone on stage and bleated, your diary from when you were a schoolgirl, how can you keep doing that till you're in your 30s?
some people try.
Yeah.
Make a real art
And
out of
look,
it.
it's a bore.
Yeah.
I'd rather go home and just buy some Jill Sander.
Are there people that you play the album to just to get their reaction that you really valued, like whether it was relatives or friends or?
Cautiously, yeah. I mean, we haven't been able to play it for too many people because it's sort of very sought after, and there's a big buzz on it, and I don't want it on the internet.
The
I
first
played it to
album.
my daughter.
Yeah.
I haven't played every
Yeah.
song for my daughter because there's some that are just disturbing. But
that you think she just wouldn't like. Heaven Tonight is the song that you've said that she really enjoys.
she likes Awful too. Both
Oh, I
because it
love
says
Awful.
girls.
Awful's brilliant.
Well, she thought it was Awful was about her. I'm like, no, this is about royalty rate and the death of punk. It's not about you. But it
What
has
did she
girls
particularly
in it.
think was? Oh, because the girls.
Oh, thank you so much. Because she what?
No, I was saying, what did she think was about her? But you said the girls bit, so ignore that.
Just that it's just like girls like you, because it says girls so much. It she just thinks it's about her. Could we stop 1 second so
Yeah,
I can
sure,
take my
yeah.
antibiotic? Yeah. Could I have some water, please? Sure.
I mean, just go over that bit again. So, which song is it in particular that Frances likes on the album?
She likes Heaven Tonight, which is actually really called the Pony Song.
Why isn't it called the Pony Song on the album?
Because
then?
we sold out, because somebody said call it Heaven Tonight. We're like, no, please, you have to. Please, it'll sell more. No, well, all right. And then the other one, I think, which maybe won't, I don't know, I love it. It's such a good song. It's called Hit So Hard. And to me, it's just such an accomplishment of girl group influences for so many years. A clever lyric, which I always pull off these really dramatic lyrics, but rarely do I do like that kind of country western traditional clever lyric. And so it has a really clever lyric, and I, for me, just love the timing on it, and it's sort of narcotic and drowsy.
I read reports of
and
people.
super pop.
Yeah,
Which I love.
people were suggesting that you were condoning the violence that women used to put up with, like in the Shangri-La's. Some interview that I read that has nothing to do with that song at all.
No, nobody suggests that, and I would imagine it's very self-evident that one has to look at me to know that
Absolutely.
I probably wouldn't suggest that because I wouldn't put up with it myself. But it's about, it's supposed to have that kind of twisted double meaning. That's why we used to cover He Hit Me and It Felt Like a Kiss. But it's also supposed to be the sex of it. If someone walks in a room, boy walks in a room and he's so magnificent, he rolls you over and you're flat on the floor.
Just
You're
knocks
just
you
like,
out.
yeah, and you see God, you know, and then it goes into this whole spiritual dimension. But then also it's got this weird little masochistic streak, which, you know, sometimes they say I happen to have. So I'm talking
Who
to
says
you.
that?
I'm
Who
talking
says
to the
that?
press, so I must be a masochist. Then I got to the end of the song, and I decided, you know, it is really true that if things are sort of, you know, wrong, you can change everything with a song. Every single thing can be broken and changed through a great pop song. That's
What great
my
pop song, is there a great pop song that's done that to you?
SOS.
By
ABBA.
ABBA, sorry.
It's okay.
I thought it was a country song from
No.
SOS by ABBA.
Waterloo, right?
Dear Prudence. SOS is a superior song, I figured out.
Do you think
Dear Prudence.
you'd say that was pop?
Yeah, because I'm a new waver, so I would say it was pop, I guess.
Yeah, you're doing this film, aren't you? 200 Cigarettes.
I did it.
You've done
I'm
it
doing
already.
I'm doing the Andy Kaufman movie with Jim Carrey, actually.
Right. Okay, but 200 Cigarettes, that is based in the early 80s.
1981, New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
1981.
Was that fantastic?
Oh, it was
exciting
great.
Because it was all your music.
No,
musical
I'm not
heritage?
that old. I'm
I'm
close
sorry.
to being that old. No, it's okay. But no, it actually was before my time a bit, before I was out of knowing what the top 40 was. But
Right.
I did demand that in my scene, I have one scene and they're like, please do the soundtrack. I'm like, no, because, you know, I act and I don't come with a soundtrack. But
Yeah.
I was like, I'll help you with my scenes. And they had put on the Dire Straits in my scene, in the bar scene, and I was like, no, this is wrong.
I don't think so.
I want Nowhere Girl.
Yeah. What about early 80s music and new wave stuff? Who else did you particularly like? Because there's quite an influence on this album, I think.
I
mean,
think it's
with
more
Awful-
in my head than, you know, certainly the Bunnyman stuff, people say that they can't hear it, but, you know, I saw Echo and the Bunnymen and Teardrop Explodes play so many times when I was a 15-year-old digger.
This is when Julian Cope was barefoot and
It's before he
inspired.
went nuts.
Ah.
No, he
Yeah.
was wearing a bomber jacket and boots still, sort of, and then that started to happen.
Yeah.
He got naked.
And then he got naked. I remember when we played with him and he got naked.
Did he?
Yeah. You know, I heard, this is so funny, I heard he wrote a book, and it's mostly about me. And at first I was really just like, oh no, when's it going to end? And then I thought to myself, God, if you told me in 1983 that Julian Cope would go write a book to make money
Would never
about
believe it.
me. He was such a pop star, and I so looked up to him, and I never thought that I would reach that pinnacle of genius. That it's kind of great that he's forced to write a book about me to make some
So
money.
have you read the book or seen the book? Or
No.
did it happen?
Actually, the journalist that we're doing, I didn't want to do the Telegraph at all, but she bribed me. She gave me English birth control, and she said that she would get a look at Julian's book. So that persona thing. So I was like, all right,
You'll go
if she
for that.
comes with some more of those persona sticks and the galleys
Persona,
of Julian,
they don't work.
They don't?
No, they're too complicated.
It seems like you have to be very diligent
Yeah,
about the
no,
whole
if
thing.
you-
It's a
if-
computer,
If
but
you're
it does
if you're
work,
organised,
right?
It's fine. Well, it works if you're organised and all that kind of stuff.
Anything to get away from the whole estrogen conspiracy. I really think it's a conspiracy against women. I really.
But with
do.
the pill?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Every time I take it, I get really passive and moo cow, and all my and I start feeling really soft and giving in. You know what I mean? It's a total
It was a
conspiracy.
long time ago, actually, since I went through that. No. Did this album turn out the way you thought it was going to be in the beginning? Because it is fairly super pop compared to the whole of the past. Did you want it to be like that, or is it just the way it evolved?
We've always been very, very ambitious about what to do with music, and we've always pushed it as far as we can. And when you look back at who we came up with and who, everything from me at 15 with Julian Cope to the people that me and Eric started with in the Vans years and years ago, there's literally, from America anyway, in terms of people that have survived and been ambitious about it, there's the Smashing Pumpkins. I can't think of anybody else really that's gone through it that's made each one better and is still a really, obnoxious, if you will, confident sense of leadership about, I want to write a classic rock record. And I think, when I put an ad in the paper to start Hole, I put many little punk bands, but I put Fleetwood Mac right there. I mean, it's not any
always
news
been
to any.
there.
If you look at the records, if you look at the lyrics, you'll see that it's a very even progression. We just need, in order to make a classic rock record, I think you need some time, and I think you should. You know, it's sad when really talented bands have to like rush back into the studio, because I'm missing records that I should be getting.
Have you heard the new the Garbage album that was out recently?
Yeah, I really like
that was
it.
pop as well.
That's
That was
super
very
pop. Yeah, it's super pop. It's a different deal. It's not as classic. It's not as like
It's
guitar
not as good as
oriented.
yours. Oh, is that what you're
No,
saying?
I'm not. It's not about good. It's what is it? It's new wave. You know what I like is the Spiritualized.
Yeah.
So good, that record.
Have you seen them live as well?
No.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
No,
Are
I
you going
know.
to be touring? Is there a whole tour coming up?
January.
In January in America or in this
It's
country?
just the whole shebang.
It all kicks off then.
You know, we really are looking forward to see whose career we kind of like restart, who gets swept in under this, who gets energized by it, what girl in the garage somewhere is going to go, oh, well, fuck, I can get rewarded. Okay, fine. Because the message is really like, you're not going to get rewarded, so why slave and why be ostracized from society and why, save up your money, to buy amps and guitars if you're just going to end up broke and broken at the end of it. And I think that we can show that you don't end up broken, and you end up being able to provide a really great service, which is great pop songs.
What is the best thing? What's it feel like when you're actually on stage? Have there been times when it's all coursed through you and it's like been the best moment, the best feeling on stage?
There's not. I mean, you can't. Obviously, I've been around some actors, and you can't even communicate to them what a better job you have. Like they know because they always want to hang around, but they don't really know. It's really when that happens. It's worth it. I mean, you have to figure out whether it's worth it or not because it can burn you up and really destroy you. I mean, just watching Shirley Manson play a month or two ago in L.A., I mean, she was phoning it in and she burned off a year of her life. So when you give it up that hard for a bunch of strangers, at this point in my life, it's got to be worth it. So the adrenaline is amazing, but where's the consequences?
You seem really positive at the moment and very much kind of in the light and very, you know what I mean, as opposed to being in a very dark place where Hole were 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be able to maintain that when you go out on tour? That must be quite
Well, that's a real challenge. I mean,
so how are you going to do that?
I'm gonna do a lot of yoga, and I'm gonna
Juice.
I'm gonna do a lot of my practice, which is I get up really early in the morning and I take a cold shower and I do sadhana and I
You do what?
what's called sadhana. I mean, I just chant. Eric chants every morning. It's that old cliche of the rock star seeing the darkness coming back, seeing the light, and it really feels boring. And did you ever see Sid and Nancy?
Yeah.
When they go to visit the reformed Iggy Pop rock star, and he's on the treadmill, and Nancy's like, "Where's the drugs?" And his manager's like, "He never did drugs." And I just so want to make sure I don't ever become that because it's such a bore.
Yeah.
But if the truth, as boring as it is, the truth is that if you've gone and you've seen the worst of it, if you're going to survive and have any faith in humanity and any faith in yourself, any faith in anybody else, you have to go see the best of it. And the best of it includes having a sense of divinity and having a sense of God, if you will. And that is just the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's just the way. It's just what it is to be human.
Yeah.
We come from a culture in America where we have such Protestant puritanical roots that romance, the deep romance that I learned from watching Ian McCulloch, that great romance that was in those lyrics, that was in that age that I saw, and all the romantic poetry that I read in our culture, and this is something that is actually really good about Britain, but that sorry. No, it's I have a little problem with your whole tabloid
mentality.
mind.
No,
it's
a
so
lot of British people
you guys
do
gotta
as well,
get
don't
over it. You have no value system left if you keep going. So listen, you'll all shave your heads in the year 2000. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
So what are we doing
So
wrong?
what? No, and what I'm trying to say is that rage and romance, especially in a woman, a lot of time the rage will sort of outweigh the sense of romance. And so, I feel like the the cartoon that one becomes when one becomes famous, which is the cost. It's just you have to be reduced into a soundbite, which will happen with this. Is that your intellect and your dignity and your excellence and your failure and all the things that make you a complex human being, the light, the dark, the devil, God, hate, love, birth, death, it all gets kind of lost in a reduced translation. So the romance of what we've always done as a band has sometimes been really lost by the amount of rage that I've put out as well. And I think if I was male, maybe this is the only time I really scratch my head and go, well, if I was a guy, would that be easier? Would I be more this Jim Morrison person or whatever? And probably. But that's good. It's changing it.
Yeah.
So
it's probably sad because young teenagers or people growing up have probably clung onto the rage as well, or identified with the rage. Probably wouldn't have understood the romanticism.
Yeah, but the romance is there. It's like we just came from Spain, where the sort of Spanish soul, the cultural Spanish identity, if you will, really makes room for, I don't know, we saw this flamenco dancing woman, this peasant flamenco dancing, and she was the soul of nature. She was full of romance and rage, and all of our interviews had a kind of intellectual capacity to see the feminine romance with rage. It was very nice.
Yeah.
But especially coming from a Protestant, puritanical, secretly classist society, which is, my country. Which I love, but has problems like every country. I'm sure Spain has problems too. We were only there for a day. So, it's just...
Where were you in Spain? Was it
Madrid. And we went to flamenco. I just started crying. I've never seen anything like it. It was like PJ Harvey times 10, opera, Maria Callas, insane, punk rock, a hurricane. It was amazing.
Yeah. Do you know PJ Harvey? Is she a friend or? I
No,
know I've read
don't.
stuff that you've said about her in the past.
It's always nice.
Yeah, I know. She's a lovely person. No, I was just wondering because she's a really nice
never
person.
really mean. I read something in my diary that was years and years old where I was really going off on her because she was so quiet. I was like, it was about when Steve Albini had a crush on her, and I was just like, man, she doesn't say anything, and that's why. I love her. I hope her new record's great. I hope so.
Yeah.
It better be. I need it.
Okay. All right, then we'll play the title track of the album. This is the single. You heard it on the session last night exclusively for the first time. We'll play it again. This is Hole and Celebrity Skin. We'll then play the record. And then we just
That's a great ring. Where'd you get that ring? Isn't that ring amazing?
Yeah, it's the jewels are falling out. It's just this designer note. They do this as well. And
The ring's fab.
Yeah. Highgate, I got it. Do you like Kaniki as well?
Yeah, I hung out with them one night. They're really funny.
They're
You
really
saw my
funny.
little Vox interview.
Yeah.
Where I was drunk.
Yeah. What does Madonna think of the album? I presume she's heard it and had an opinion. No? Yes?
Well, we're going to do a movie together, and which I'm not going to talk about, but I sent it to her. We were emailing. And she's computer literate. We emailed about this.
It's the most direct way.
Yeah, I know. Her name's funny. And
you're not going to tell me that
no
either.
way. I'm not telling you mine either. But then I sent it to her, and I haven't talked to her since then.
So you don't know what...
The silence is deafening.
No. How can you bear that?
I don't know. I don't think we're that interested in each other's music. I mean, frankly.
It's
I don't
more
know.
as friends.
No, it's, the thing in common is just like fashion, really. I mean...
No, you must have more in common than that.
Well...
Being celebrities.
I really like her. The famous thing, I lost a part in a movie I really wanted a part in. I was devastated. I was like, the drapes were drawn in my room, and the person I lost the part to, I was sitting there watching her like movies over and over because I'm a masochist.
Voodoo.
Yes, for a week. It was so awful. It was such a Jacqueline Suzanne Valley of the Dolls moment, and I called her, and she was like, "Oh, get off your ass, God." Fuck those people. Go start your own production company. Rah, rah, rah. And then she just started like, what did she say? She's like, when they write the book on the 20th century, you think there's going to be blah, blah in it and blah, blah and Sean and blah, blah and blah, blah. There's going to be 2 chapters, baby. You and me. She's great. After that, I was like, I love her. And I felt like $1 million. It was like, you and me. She's deluded, seriously. But you know what? Good for her.
Anyway, we better get on to this. It's Radio 1, it's The Social, and we've got Hole talking to us today from a very nice hotel with strawberries and stuff like that. If I can just throw some questions off this questionnaire, it's something that we do with everybody that we interview.
Choose wisely, Joe. Choose wisely. I read it.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Would you just want to tell me which ones you want to answer?
I don't know. I'm reading here. If you could go back in time and observe any moment in history, what would it be and why?
Why?
Do you have a temper?
So you could just
I'm gonna make fun of these. Worst habit you've ever had? Oh God, we really.
You can answer that about
what
each
was your
other.
most embarrassing moment?
Do you want to answer any of these?
No, I don't know. Go ahead.
Um,
I love this one. Can you recall your most drunken moment? Doesn't everybody say, no, because I was too drunk?
Jarvis did actually. Yeah. God, do you play any sport?
No, but I
not
forced
badminton.
my child to play soccer.
Play soccer.
Oh yes.
Did you watch the World Cup, or did she watch the World Cup?
No, she did not. But she's got nice big shoulders like me. She's going to be an Amazon.
She'll be a swimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazon planet.
Well, we'll leave it at that, unless you can see any question on there that you're particularly desperate to answer. We'll wrap it up then. Okay, thank you very much for talking to us today. So the tour, it all kicks off in 1999. That's when we have to wait until. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to do our millennial. Everyone's going to make a big deal out of the millennium,
I'm just gonna ignore it.
And then the day after, you're all going to realize it's just the same as it's always been. But
know.
I think we should honor the millennium and all shave our heads and renounce corporate sponsorship. You want to do that, Joe? I'll do it if you do it.
So
We're
not
too
being
in
sponsored
now.
by anybody.
They've got their claws into us. We can't get out.
Listen, you've gone the media route now. You've done the
Yes,
interviews
darling.
and you're doing all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Is it painful having to do interviews? Or
In
is
England,
it like a job?
oh, it's
is it
painful.
worse in this country?
Oh, yes.
Who's worse? Is it the Daily Mails of this world or the?
Well, I don't
NMEs?
let them in the room, so why would As long as it doesn't come out of my mouth, I don't care what anybody writes.
Yeah, but this country's worse than anywhere else.
You know perfectly well what the answer to that question is. Don't play dumb with me, miss.
Except for Radio 1. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thanks,
Cheers.
Joe.
It is a really wonderful album, and
Thanks so much.